Tutoring break. I am really excited for today's topic, Susie.
Ooh.
It is one that we talk about all the time, and it's how much should I charge?
Okay.
Oh my gosh, what a topic to delve into, because there is no answer, is there? There is no real answer to how much you charge. So I think what we're best off doing is looking at things you could consider.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's your decision. I mean, I think the first thing that you should really think about is, what do you need to earn? So if tutoring is becoming your main role, your only income, you need to make sure you're earning enough to live. You've got a mortgage or rent to pay, you've got bills to pay. And if you're not covering that, then you're going to be struggling. So, you need to think about where to start. It might be that works out really low if you're very lucky and have very low outgoings. It might be that it's going to cost, that works out about £3 per person. You're not going to be charging £3 an hour, are you? But, I think that's a good place to start. Think about where you need to be and then work backwards. How many students does that mean you need to take on? And then what would they pay? And how many students can you fit in? Because if it isn't your only role and you're doing it alongside something else, and you've got Wednesday evening and Saturday morning free, so you can only take on a certain amount of students, you want to make sure it's worth it for you, and what you're putting into it, you're getting something back for that as well.
Definitely, yeah. And I think sort of alongside that, as something for someone who might be listening and hoping, like you say, they're going to hear the perfect answer, like the equation to pricing is this plus this divided by. But people often throw in their location, which granted can kind of have some sort of like magical effect on it, because if you live in the north of England and what you charge might be different down south. Like the cost of living is different wherever you are, and you'll know your community. You might not be able to charge X amount for the community that you're living in, because no one's going to be able to afford that or pay for that. However, again, sort of don't let that be the ultimate limiting factor, because a lot of tutors, especially if you teach online, well, then the world is your oyster. You're going to get lots of lovely folk from either across the UK or even international, and that then brings its own little series of lovely questions to consider.
Absolutely. But I think you've hit the nail on the head there, haven't you, really? I think some comparison is important, because if everybody that has the same offering as you in the same kind of area, or doing the same thing, is charging £20 and you charge £5, have you then gone too cheap? And you want to make sure you get that price point right, so that parents, families don't look at it and think, why are they so much less than everyone else? And view it in a skeptical way. So I think definitely doing some market research around what other people are charging, but not only geographically close to you, but make sure you're looking at tutors that are covering the same subjects, the same areas, and things like that, because it's going to be very different. I think also factor in your tools. So any subscriptions you pay for, all the resources you buy, some tutors use a very hands-on approach and might be doing things like baking in their sessions. And you're going to then be buying ingredients, and they're not cheap these days, so factor that in. Other things you might want to factor in if you're traveling, if you go and tutor in a student's home, your travel time, your travel costs, the mileage, and sometimes there isn't parking readily available if a family lives in a city centre and you've got to pay for parking. Again, these are costs that you're incurring because of the work that you're doing with them. So really make sure you're being paid for your time, and all of your time. Actually, another point is, you're you're offering a service which is 45 minutes or an hour of tuition, but before that you're planning that session. So that might take you half an hour, and before that you've been becoming a specialist in your topic. So whether that's, you know, getting a degree, working with children in a school, because there are loads of different paths you could have taken, but you've got those experiences and qualifications. So I think, don't undervalue yourself. We're very, very good at undervaluing ourselves, aren't we? And you know, it's coming back to right from episode 1, that imposter syndrome feeling of, am I allowed to charge that? Will people work with me? And I think, you know, that there are lots of families out there who are looking for lots of different things, but there are lots of tutors with lots of different price points. And if someone thinks that your price point is too expensive, there will be someone else that finds you and thinks, they're exactly what I've been looking for.
I think that's so true. And I think it is that worry of this person's going to turn around and say, no, I don't want to pay that. And I don't think it happens a lot to tutors, but you occasionally do hear it of someone trying to haggle them down almost.
I've had that before.
Oh, wow.
And you know what? I had someone trying to haggle with me, and it would have been so easy to just say yes. And I said no. And they said, okay then. And they paid the price that I'd asked in the first place. But you know, if you don't ask, you don't get. So but yeah, it feels like pressure, but actually a lot of the time it's not that people don't want to pay what you're offering, it's just they want to see if they can get a bit of a better price.
Definitely, and some people, like you say, will just be like that. And if, like say, they say yes, you can have a kind of, they'll be like, oh, okay, that's the boundary, and then you'll work with them. But if someone tries to haggle you and then they go, well, I'm still not paying, then okay, all right. It's the kind of classic thing, and I think we hear people in our community, long-time tutors supporting any newbie tutors, they say, like, you know, you wouldn't ask your hairdresser all of a sudden, can you, oh, actually, I don't want to pay that much, I'll give you this instead. You don't challenge them in that regard, so why challenge someone who's helping, you know, build an education, support, confidence, all these lovely things that we talk about. So definitely,
I think it's based on that need, isn't it? Like you said, your hairdresser, or if you've got a tradesperson come out to your house, and they tell you how much it costs, you're going to pay them because, I don't know, if you've got no electricity, you've got no electricity. Their time, you pay them for the parts, and you don't question it because it's something that you need. So, you know, if one person thinks you're too expensive, another person thinks you're too cheap, there will be someone that thinks you're exactly what they're looking for. So please don't get disheartened and think, I need to drop my prices because I've not had 50 new students immediately.
Exactly.
Sometimes it just takes time, and finding that right person can take time. But so our key takeaway, unfortunately, is we can't tell you how much to charge, but what we can tell you is what you should consider. So really think about, you know, what you need, what's going to work for you, and what works in your area. But do your research, have a good think, and find something that works for you. I think you can always raise your prices, but you don't want to be lowering them. So, you know, if you're going a bit low, don't feel bad to increase them. Lots of tutors and lots of businesses increase their prices all the time. And, you know, we're very used to prices increasing. So you can absolutely do that. And good luck.